I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to our ongoing Operation Freedom Health series that focuses on the empowerment of you and your body, as opposed to what big insurance and big pharma and big government and big medicine like the AMA want to focus on. It's all about them and them. If networking, their entire, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Their smoke and mirror show that, oh no, this is what they feel. This is what they tell you. Oh, your body cannot heal itself if you give it the appropriate foundations about the appropriate. No, it's going to take our medicine. It's going to take our expertise as the AMA. It's going to take such medical luminaries as Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Mitt Romney, Mitch McConnell. Those are your real healers. This is what they want you to believe. Hence, this series that Dr. Peter Glidden and I have been doing for over 2 years now is despised by all of those entities I just told you about. Big pharma, big insurance, big medicine, big government, and their puppets. Why? Because we speak about how you can harness the healing and wellness properties that are built within your own body to keep you safe and healthy and out of the hospital and out of the doctor's office and keep you doing what you like to do. Frankly, that's a philosophy that was not taught to me through my medical education. And it actually, that education about the body's healing properties by getting the appropriate nutrition and supplements actually was brought to me by the person you're looking at, Dr. Peter Glidden, who's one of the top naturopathic physicians in the country, if not the world, one of the top researchers, one of the top writers, actually, authors. His books should be the foundation of your library. They are of our medical library in my home. Everybody is sick, and I know why. And Attempt to Cure with Holistic Medicine that are available on his website, drglidden.com, along with a wealth of other information, and also at Amazon and Barnes & Noble and the like. The information we discussed today is also available at operationfreedomhealth.com, along with a number of the products we talk about, because there's no sense talking about it, an issue or a particular means of addressing this, and not having an avenue where you can reliably go to get not only the information, but the products we speak about. In full disclosure, the products that that you might purchase through operationfreedomhealth.com does support what we do on this platform, so we can keep getting this information out. It's my honor to welcome back my friend, Dr. Peter Glidden. Peter, welcome back to the Operation Freedom Health platform.
Thanks, Dave. Today is 2222. How about that?
A lot of twos. So, hey, go ahead.
Now, there is one thing I'd like to mention, because it popped into my mind when you were giving your introduction. You know, we talk about the body's ability to fix itself, and that's a fundamental thing. And I think people in the listening audience that aren't really familiar with that, it's maybe a hard thing for them to conceptualize, perhaps. So let me just briefly talk about it like this. So naturopathic doctors believe in something called natural law. And natural law doesn't change. It's like gravity, right? It exists whether you believe in it or not. And one natural law that we have observed throughout the centuries as mindful physicians is that the human body knows how to fix itself, the human body wants to fix itself, and the human body is trying to fix itself. How do we know that? Well, the simplest explanation is your body grew itself all by itself from one cell and then two cells into you, all by itself, knew how to do it. Now, the extrapolated logic is, well, if the body knew how to do that, don't you think it would be reasonable to assume that the body also knows how to optimize its structure and function? And the answer is yes. And so that's the frame of reference that I'd like you to think about. And also, if you cut your finger, you don't have to tell your immune system to secrete fibrinogen and upregulate T helper cell production and macrophage response time. You have no idea what that stuff is. Your body does. Your body does it all by itself. All you have to do is keep it clean. The body fixes it. So this is what we're talking about when we talk about that. It's not some, pie in the sky theoretical mumbo jumbo. It's actual pragmatic observation that the body has a built-in self-healing mechanism. And my profession's job is to develop and deliver therapeutics that support that. And in that regard, I have the easiest job in the world.
So then people ask Peter, well, wait now, if the body has its ability to heal itself, how does the body get in trouble to begin with that it's having some issues? And the answer to that, and tell me if I'm wrong, is that if you don't have the appropriate nutrients, supplements, and foundation for those nutrients and supplements, your body depletes its tank and becomes vulnerable to, you name the entity, you name the disease, you name the issue, correct?
Yeah, it's all about stress. Life is a great big bowl of stress. And when the body experiences stress, it wears it down. And, weather is stressful to the body. Aging is stressful to the body. Crap in the air, crap in the water, crap in the food, stressful to the body. Emotional stress, financial stress, political stress. Let's talk about political stress. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It affects the body. And the body either has the resources and the ability to handle the stress, or it does not. I mean, you could be the healthiest person in the world, but if you go outside to shovel snow in sub-zero weather and you do that in your bathing suit, the stress of the cold is going to affect you. Could kill you. But if you bundle up, right, you can sleep on the ice if you want to. So our whole thing is, yes, the body knows how to optimize its structure and function, but it needs things in order to do that and to handle the stress of life. And arguably the most important fundamental need of the body is the 90 essential nutrients, because they're essential and the body needs them in order to work. I mean, if your car runs out of oil, I don't care how new the engine is, I don't care how many miles it has on it, the engine's going to seize. It ran out of oil. Well, there are 90 things that the body can run out of. 16 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 2 fatty acids. If it runs out of those for an extended period of time, the stress of life is going to hammer it. And so this is what we talk about as fundamental foundation medical nutrition. You must give your body the 90 essential nutrients or you're spitting into the wind.
And that's the foundation pack that we talk about.
Yeah, and that's why it's called the foundation pack, right? Because it's the foundation of your body's ability to fix itself.
And the components of the foundation pack are what?
So 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 aminos, and 2 fatty acids, and that's comprised of 4 different products. It's a multivitamin, multimineral, probiotic, prebiotic, antioxidants called Beyond Tangy Tangerine, liquid calcium, magnesium with some other minerals in it that's over 90% absorbable, organic plant-derived minerals in a liquid form, which represent 66%, 2/3, 66%, the lion's share of your body's nutrient needs, and a bottle of fish oil called Prohoba Omega, which gives you omega-3 essential fats. And that's how we do it, and that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick.
So let's speak about a particular organ in the body and its role in affecting your energy. So let's talk about how your liver affects your energy, because I've heard from many people over the past month of people saying, my energy level. I feel like it's, with all these stresses, as you talked about, all these stresses, why is, my energy level is just feels depleted. Well, let's specifically talk, Peter. I mean, obviously, we need the foundation pack. We need that foundation of the 90 essential nutrients and minerals. Let's talk about the liver's role in this.
Well, there's a saying in naturopathic medicine that when all else fails, or when you're in doubt of what to do, treat the liver.
Mm-hmm.
Because the liver, interestingly, is the only organ in the body that can regenerate itself.
Mm-hmm.
Skin can't do that. Kidneys can't do that. Heart can't do it. Lungs, nothing can do it. The liver can do it. You can surgically remove, I think, something like 3/4 of the liver. It'll grow back, for goodness sakes. So the body has developed this mechanism because the liver is so vitally important for everything. The liver is fundamentally important for detoxification.
Mm-hmm.
The liver is fundamentally important for hormone regulation.
Mm-hmm.
The liver is fundamentally important for proper digestion.
Mm-hmm.
And the liver is fundamentally important for the management of cholesterol levels in the body and also energy production. The liver does a whole bunch of things. And there's a correlation between the liver and the brain. The body in some schools of holistic thought is looked at as a battery with a positive end and a negative end. The positive end being the brain, the negative end being the liver. And so in order for the energy in the body to flow properly, in order for your brain to function properly, which is really interesting,
Mm-hmm.
your liver has to be functioning properly,
Mm-hmm.
because if it's not going to work, because the circuit's going to be jammed, right? So we love treating the liver because it's super easy to do. And when you optimize the structure and function of the liver, it virtually affects every system in the body.
So let's talk about how you do that.
Well, regarding energy, the number one complaint, this was a real eye-opener when I uncovered these data. The number one reason that people visit a doctor's office in the United States of America,
Mm-hmm.
lack of energy.
There you go.
It's the number one reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's not arthritis. It's not chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It's not cancer. It's not heart disease. It's, doc, I don't have enough energy. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that, well, in order to optimize energy production in the human body, you have to have the foundation nutrients there.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the engine without oil, we're spitting into the wind. Number two, you have to stop putting diesel fuel in an unleaded tank. You got to eliminate the 12 bad foods, stop eating food that hurts the body.
And by the way, we have that video on the top of OperationFreedomHealth.com free. I'm sorry,
and
Peter.
It's free.
Go right ahead.
Right? It's free because it's important. It's
Yep.
free.
Mm-hmm.
And if energy throughout the day is not optimal for you,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if you feel like you're lagging after you eat lunch, or you hit an afternoon low, or you just don't really get into second gear after you wake up in the morning, or whatever, there's thousands of different iterations about the whole energy thing for different people. It's never a bad idea to give the liver a little bit of a leg up, because there's a process in the body called gluconeogenesis, which is fancy schmancy doctor talk for the liver makes gasoline.
Mm-hmm.
When there isn't enough gasoline in the body from the food that you eat. And interestingly, the gasoline of the body is sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, in scientific terms, it's called glucose.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of different types of sugar. There's glucose and sucrose and fructose and oligopolysaccharides. And glucose is the molecule of sugar that the body loves, the body needs, and the body uses for energy production. Now, when you eat food, especially if you eat carbohydrates, the body digests the carbohydrates and extracts glucose from the carbohydrates and uses that for energy.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not eating all the time.
Sure.
You eat, most people don't even eat 3 meals a day. So you'll eat some food, the body finds the glucose that's in the carbohydrate and uses it for energy. But then, depending on your body weight and your amount of activity and how much food you ate, the body's going to run out of glucose. It's just not enough there. So between meals, when the body needs energy, because it needs energy all the time, you need energy just to think,
Right.
for goodness sakes. when there's not enough gasoline in the tank, not enough glucose going down the hatch, not enough carbohydrates, the liver makes glucose through a process called gluconeogenesis. Now, in order for that to happen, there's a lot of things that have to go right. There's a lot of players there. It's like dominoes, each knocking the other over. And so if one or two or three of the dominoes are wobbly or they're not there at all, then the liver is not going to be able to generate glucose through gluconeogenesis, and your energy is going to be less than satisfactory for most of the day. So now here's the beauty of all of this, Dave. Here's what we don't need to do. We don't need to do a liver biopsy followed by an MRI, followed by a liver blood panel, in order to be able to observe the metabolic properties of that liver at that particular moment in time, in order then to try to micromanage it with a pharmaceutical or even a nutritional intervention, which is what lots of functional medicine doctors do. A lot of doctors, whether they're chiropractors or medical doctors who try to get their feet wet in medical nutrition, they learn how to use nutrients the same way that they use drugs, right? It's to overwhelm, overpower, control the body in the way that the doctor thinks is best. That's not what we need to do here. Because remember, what's the foundation belief? Well, the body knows how to fix itself. Body knows what to do. Liver knows what to do. So we don't have to micromanage it. All we have to do is give it stuff to help it work. It's like blowing air on a fire, for goodness sakes. That's all we have to do. Now, what's the best way to do that? Well, I'm not, people are going to think I'm exaggerating here, but I'm not. 2,000 years of observation of the use of botanical medicines on the human body has led to some really interesting conclusions. And there are a number of botanical medicines which upregulate different parts of the liver function. Like gives a little massage to the liver here, a little massage to the liver there, a little bit of upregulation here, a little bit of downregulation there. Overall, really excellent liver support, different than liver control or metabolic control. We're giving the liver the stuff it needs in order to work better. You know, it's like putting ice on a, you know, you drop a rock on your foot and it starts to swell, you put ice on it. Well, that's a good idea. This is in the same lines of thought. The liver knows how to optimize its structure and function, so we give it the 90 essential nutrients, the foundation pack. We stop eating food that's coming up the works, and the secret sauce to optimize liver health is the Good Herbs liver and gallbladder support, because the formula found in the Good Herbs liver and gallbladder support is the result of literally, not figuratively, literally thousands of years of documented clinical experience with people using botanical medicines throughout time, especially in India, where it's a big thing. And also in China, traditional Chinese medicine leans heavily on the use of herbs, which is an irony which is not lost on me in the 21st century. But nonetheless, you know, this isn't rocket science. All you have to do is be an acute observer, and nature unfolds before you. And you're shown what to do. And then you apply it, and then you tweak it, and then you apply it, and then you tweak it, and then you get a pretty good formula. And that's exactly what the Good Herbs people have done. I swear to God, Dave, if people had any idea of what went into the formulation of the recipes in the Good Herbs stuff, and they would be stockpiling it like gold, for goodness sakes, because it's really, really smart. It's really effective. And in this case, a really good idea. I am of the opinion that because there's so much crap in the environment,
Yeah.
and the liver really is the main engine
Right.
of detoxification,
Right.
that once a year, people should do a 4-week, a 28-day, 1 month round of the Good Herbs Liver Support. Get 2 bottles. I don't care what your body weight is. I'm talking to adults, not kids. Get 2 bottles of the Good Herbs Liver Support and take 4 milliliters twice a day, 4 mLs twice a day for 1 month, 4 milliliters twice a day for 1 month. Do that once a year, and that will go a long, 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 long way towards giving your liver a little extra TLC, which it needs because we're living in such a toxic world.
And Pete, you mentioned this Good Herbs brand that we have at OperationFreedomHealth.com. Educate our listeners, because this is really important. Many people say, well, there's some other things I could look at too, which is good, look at them. But what sets Good Herbs apart from other potential supplements to benefit the liver? So, for example, people go and look and say, oh, well, this is in it and this is in it, and I can get maybe 2 of the 10 things that are in the liver support, so I'm going to take that. No, educate our listeners about what Good Herbs brings to the table on this formulation, but also all of the formulations they have. The adrenal support, the you name it support. Educate our listeners, because this is really important.
Yeah, and it's easy for these details to get lost in the noise, of nutritional supplements, and everybody thinks they're an expert, and they'll try to price shop, and they'll try to get it a little less expensive somewhere else or whatever, and it's a fool's errand to try to do that. I mean, you wouldn't try to fix your own tooth if you had a tooth problem, right? You'd just find a really good dentist. Mm-hmm. Well, so one of the things that makes the Good Herbs product superior to all the others is the formulations, right? Mm-hmm. Which herbs are used in the formula, what percentage of those herbs are used in the formula to create that orchestra, right? Mm-hmm. Because it is an orchestra.
It is.
And all of the parts work in a particular synergy that's been figured out in the case of Good Herbs over thousands of years. I mean, no kidding. So that's the most important. But number 2, okay, so now we've got the formula. We know what we're going to use. Where are we going to get it? How are we going to source it? So Good Herbs only sources organically grown plants that are wild crafted. They're not grown on a farm somewhere with pesticides. They're growing in the world. And this is really interesting because, for instance, Super Olive Health, which is
which I take every day as well.
For the whole viral upregulation.
And I take that every day.
It's fantastic stuff.
Yeah.
And the operative ingredient is the olive leaf.
Yes.
But the olive leaf that's grown in California is significantly different in its chemical constituents than the olive leaf that's grown in the Mediterranean.
That's right.
It's the same plant. It's the same genus and species. So what's going on? Well, we figured out that if you harvest the olive leaf from this particular part of the world, you get more bang for your buck from it. And it's the same with all of the other herbs. So they know where to get it, and it's wild crafted, and it's organic, so it's not messed with by the pharmaceutical industry, the agribusiness industry, right? It's as close to God-given as you're going to get. Number 1. Number 2, most botanical medicine supplements that you get over the counter, you read the label, it will say ephedra, standardized to contain X amount of ephedrine, or milk thistle, which is a really good liver herb, standardized to contain X amount of silymarin, which is a particular constituent of the plant. And that's a bad idea. But the vast majority of botanical medicines that are available over the counter, they have standardized a particular part of the plant, and here's how that goes. So the medical community gets word somehow that this particular plant is good.
So Pete and I were just so rudely interrupted. Now, I'd like to tell you that it was something nefarious. Actually, what it was is we're in the middle of a snowstorm, ice storm here, and the People's Republic of Ann Arbor. So I think this is, and we, the utilities companies are just so, they love to charge you all kinds of money. But boy, I'll tell you, the minute you just get a little bit of snow and ice, look out, we're shutting it down. So anyway, Pete, let's go back to where we were rudely interrupted, speaking about good herbs, and you were talking about the standardization process.
Yeah, so this is an important point to ponder with botanical medicines, and the vast majority, over 90% of botanical medicines that are available over the counter, if you look on the label, it will say standardized to contain blah, 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 some chemical name that nobody can even pronounce. This is because scientists think that they're smarter than God, and they don't have any appreciation for natural law. So they'll see a plant, they'll take a plant that rumor has it has some medicinal value, and they'll do a chemical analysis of it, and they'll say, well, this plant has 200 chemical constituents, biochemical constituents. And then they choose one of those biochemical constituents that they think is the most important. And God only knows how they reach that conclusion, but they do. So then they will extract it from that plant and extract it from 10,000 other plants. And so now they've got a concentration of this one chemical constituent out of the 200 that are available in the plant. They inject maybe 10 or 20% of that back into the product that they sell. So they'll collect the other constituents, the other 199 constituents. They'll put that into a jar, but then they load on top of it the stuff that they concentrated. So they're screwing with nature, right?
Right.
Because they think they know better. And ephedra, historically, is a perfect example. Ephedra was sold in the 70s, I think, as a weight loss supplement.
Right. Correct.
When it was taken off of the market by the FDA because ephedra had the unhappy metabolic result of increasing blood pressure and increasing heart rate. So, and it was an appetite suppressant, right? The same way that, amphetamines are. So they took it off the market because it was messing with people's blood pressure, and then ephedra got a bad name, but it wasn't the ephedra plant that did it. What the geniuses in the lab did was they took the ephedra plant, they saw that there was one chemical constituent in it called ephedrine. They took that out and they concentrated it, and they put it back in the ephedra supplement, and ephedrine all by itself increases blood pressure and heart rate. So the plant itself, ephedra, got a bad rap, not because it was bad for the human body, but because they messed with it.
Right.
Ephedra, in an unmessed with state, if you just extract all of the chemical constituents and, the amounts that they're in the plant, you put that into a nutritional supplement, encapsulate it, or put it in an alcohol extract and give it to healthy humans. It's a fantastic medicine for the lungs. And it does not do anything to your blood pressure, and it does not do anything to your heart rate. Because nature knows best.
Right.
And that's another thing that the Good Herbs people does that hardly anybody else does. There's only one other company that I know that does that, takes everything from the plant instead of just trying to micromanage one aspect of it and standardize it. But that company only sells to doctors.
Yeah.
You can't get their stuff over the counter like you can the Good Herbs. So the Good Herbs respects, number one, clinical experience of thousands of practitioners over thousands of years using botanical medicines clinically. They respect that. Number two, they respect nature, and they use science, the scientific method, to figure out where is the best plant grown on planet Earth. Where is the best olive leaf grown? Where is the best chelidonium grown? Where is the best whatever grown, right? Because you can figure that out. And most importantly, they respect nature. They're not going to mess with the constituents of the plant. They're going to extract everything that's in the plant, in the ratios that exist in the plant, and deliver that as a medicinal agent. And when you do all of these things, you get it's not rocket science. You get a superior product.
No, it's in medicine, Pete, right? I mean, those of us that look at a patient holistically, the whole patient, not just, well, this little, this is essentially holistic botanicals. You're looking, you're taking the entire structured plant that nature, that God gave us, and you're not trying to mess with it. You're saying, we already have the magic formula here in this plant.
Right. It's 100% correct. And it values, so, this approach enters into the whole practice of naturopathic medicine, any holistic methodology, enters into the realm of the divine. It does.
Mm-hmm.
Because the fundamental understanding here is that plants were made by the divine.
Mm-hmm.
Man, woman was made by the divine.
Mm-hmm.
We're both growing up in one biosphere,
mm-hmm.
made by the divine. So maybe, therefore, it's not illogical to conclude that we should pay attention to the plant kingdom and the mineral kingdom, right, which is what we do here, in order to formulate medicines to support and promote the body's ability to fix itself. And so we respect that, and we don't try to manipulate it. And, a professor of mine always would say, I kind of laughed every time he said it, but now I get why he said it. That, man made drugs and God made plants, and who do you trust?
Who do you
right?
trust? Yeah, that's right. That's exactly it, Pete.
So that's why the good herbs are superior, almost in point of fact, in every way, shape, and form.
Pete, in our closing remarks here, educate our listeners on your website, drglidden.com.
Well, take a deep dive with me into figuring out how to help your body fix itself. We've got lots of free information at operationfreedomhealth.com. It kind of dips your toe in the water, gives you an understanding of what we're up to and why. But if you really want to sit at the adults table, take a dive into the pool, then drglidden.com has abundant resources that are available via a month-to-month subscription, and the intention of which is to educate you about all of this stuff, which regretfully, tragically, intentionally is not available through the mainstream.
Pete, I'd like to thank you for everything you have done, are doing, and will do. You are an incredible fighter for the health and welfare and safety of every person, not just in our country, but around the world. And I thank you for that, because I know for a fact you take a lot of grief, as do I, for bringing forward this approach that other people are reluctant to bring forward because they do not want to take on big pharma, big insurance, big medicine, and big government. And I thank you for that perseverance, dedication, and sacrifice to every human on the planet. Folks, the more information is available at drglidden.com. More information is available along with the products at operationfreedomhealth.com. The video, 12 Bad Foods, that Pete did, it's free. It's on the very top of operationfreedomhealth.com. Plus, there's a tremendous amount of information on what we discussed today and every week that we present these video presentations. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thanks for your time today.